Welcome back to another super awesome mix. My name is Matt Sidholm, alongside my co-host and co-founder and the birthday boy, Sam Abousalbi. Sam, happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Yes. One of our listeners pieced together when I was talking about the track 2085 that I would be 100 years old then. And just a little simple math trick equates to this being my 40th birthday. So the cat's out of the bag. I'm entering into my 4th decade here on this planet. Incredible.
That is incredible. Well, actually, doesn't that mean 4 decades are behind you? Aren't you entering your 5th
Right.
decade?
Yes, I'm entering my 5th one. Yeah. Oh, math again. It just keeps sneaking up on you.
It does keep sneaking up on us, but it's there. It's there. Well, congratulations, Sam. I mean, my 40th birthday is well in my rearview window, but I'm happy you're finally here, and I'm happy we're still doing the show, and I'm happy you put together talk about the theme here. This is a 40th birthday. This is your birthday mix. We do a birthday mix every year, but this one's got to be a little more special, right?
I agree. Yeah, there's something about entering in, having a new number start your, a new digit start your year. So now I'm in my 40s. I've exited my 30s officially. So I really struggled with what theme to put together for this. I thought about like songs from the 80s, and I'm like, no, that would be the worst mix I could put together for myself. And then I thought about maybe picking a handful of songs like from every 10 years of my life, but like that is such an exercise because how do you pick 3 songs from like the first 10 years of your life? Like there's so many more than that, right? So then I thought, well, you know what? Like I think this is often whenever I enter into a new, like, let's call it era, I am, a little bit more reflective than normal. And so I thought, why not pick songs where the lyrics kind of have a meaning to me? And like, what am I thinking about these days? And kind of build this as like a snapshot of like, who am I entering into, year 41? And so that is kind of the theme. It's very heavy on the lyrics and like the feel of a lot of these songs. So that is what I pieced together. So we'll talk about that throughout.
Nice. Okay. And I really enjoyed this mix just as like a precursor. This was a good mix of songs. Since it's your birthday mix, I will introduce every song. Obviously, they're not all from the same artist, so I will introduce the artist as well. So we will start with track 1. It is Hallelujah by Logic.
Yeah, this is one that I just kind of knew. The second I picked my theme, I knew I wanted to start it off with this track. I mentioned recently that I've been listening to Logic again. This song is one that I didn't hear before recently, but I love it. I love it for a lot of reasons. Number one, it just has this really nice, like open, joyful feel. It just kind of gets you in a good mood. I've been listening to it a lot to start my days recently. I love the chorus of "Open Your Mind" over and over. He's singing from the point of view of someone who is biracial. He's half black, half white, and just doesn't ever feel like he belongs in either camp. And what I think he's really singing here is like, open your mind, be open to people that don't fall into a category, whatever that is. In this case, for him, it's his race, but I think you can apply this universally, right? And so, I think that that's something that is super important for me to keep in mind too. It's easy as we get older to kind of, be stuck in our ways, close our mind to things, like have experiences ruin certain things for us. And I think it's important to kind of let go of that as much as we can, keep an open mind, and just be open to whatever is going to happen in life because we never know. So really like it for that. And I also think the ending skit is hilarious. Like I have only listened to it one way through the entire way. Usually I'll just skip skits after you listen to it the first time. So that's what I've been doing, but it's worth listening to the whole way because I think it's pretty great. And it features Neil deGrasse Tyson as God, which is also great.
Yeah, this is a great song. I wasn't sure, just looking at the title, if it was going to be some sort of takeoff of the like Jeff Buckley classic Hallelujah, right? It's nothing like that. It does have gospelish feel to it. You talked about kind of the peppiness to it. I feel like it's a little takes a little bit from the gospel genre. Loved it, like musically loved it. I mean, obviously the lyrics are great too. And I'm with you. The vignette at the end, it kind of reminded me. I don't know if you've ever seen the Albert Brooks movie Defending Your Life, where he dies and kind of is trying to get to heaven. Anyway, that's a great movie if you're turning 40, I feel like, because it's a great like look at the afterlife, and Albert Brooks is hilarious. And I think you'd really enjoy it. It's from like 1990. So there's probably going to be some stuff that offends you, Sammer, but
right.
Just fight your way through it. Okay, there's a larger theme here going on. It was a different time. All right.
I'll try to open my mind to
There you go.
yeah,
See?
to the offensive stuff of the 90s. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything offensive, but I say that all the time, and then you'll be like, "What about the part with the?" And I'm like, "Oh, right. I guess that is probably offensive." Okay.
Yeah, I'm in a permanent state of being offended now.
All right. Track 2, you've got "What's My Age Again" by Blink 182.
Yeah, so of course I had to have this track because it's a question that I literally ask myself all the time. And I think this is also pretty normal. As you get older, you do lose track of how old you are. So people might ask you, like, how old are you? And you're like, wait, what's my age again? So that is, I felt very appropriate here, especially like I work pretty much primarily in startups, and startups tend to attract a lot of young people. And now I realize I'm part of like the older, thing of startups. I'm like, when did that happen? Like I used to be the 20-something joining a startup, right. And now people look to me like I'm an elder, and I'm like, I don't have any answers. And I think that again is captured in this song, right? Like I feel stuck in my 20s, and I think that's also pretty normal. But this is definitely why I wanted to include it lyrically. Of just like I really sometimes question what my age is, and am I actually a 40-year-old person? I thought I'd have way more answers by now than I do.
Yeah, this is a great one. I kind of wasn't surprised it was on here because I feel like we've talked about this song again, either on the show or just offline. But here's what I loved about it. The end of Hallelujah by Logic and the beginning of this song just pair really well. And I wanted to kind of point that out, that like that was a really good transition between songs, two songs that you wouldn't think would transition together. And that's just a really important feature of a mixtape. So if you're out there making a playlist or a mixtape, think about the transitions and how it's going to sound to someone listening to it. But yeah, 100% agree. I had to testify in like a trial recently. And at one point they asked me, so you swear that you're going to tell the truth, all that whole thing, right? But one of the last questions they asked me is, how old are you? And that was the one question I kind of paused at. I was like, because it would have been so unfortunate to perjure yourself with a question about your age, right?
Your age, yeah. That's awesome. Well, it probably made it more authentic that you waited. I imagine lawyers are used to that, right? And judges, where it's like, if you immediately know your age, it's like, oh, that's suspicious.
Right.
Like,
knew this question was coming. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this next track features an age number in it. It is Anthems for a 17-year-old Girl by Broken Social Scene.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've had this on somewhere in our 5 years of recording, because I vaguely remember talking about it. But yeah, this is another one where, again, it's the theme here is just truly, thinking back to your youth. This song is really just tackling that idea of like, you almost don't recognize your young self anymore. Like this person, like she's singing, like, you used to be one of the rotten ones, but I liked you for that. I tell my wife all the time that, like, if she met me in high school, she probably would have hated me because I was like a brash, like bratty, self-absorbed kid, and now I'm just mostly bratty and self-absorbed.
I was going to say, what's changed? Which part has changed? Just point for the listeners. Point that out for the listeners. I mean, obviously, I know, but just
I'm slightly less self-absorbed. I do let in a little bit of other people and, a little bit of empathy.
Okay, carry on. Yes.
Yeah. But no, I just like this song because, again, it's just that examination of looking back and realizing that, you are not that person, but at the same time, you are that person, right? I think that's what's so unique about kind of getting older is like you are all of these people mushed into this one version of self, and how that changes over the years. So just another kind of reflective song. And one that I just have always loved the feel of this song. Like, I don't know, it's just got this like airy kind of feel you can lose yourself to. So that's why this is track number 3.
I heard some banjo in here. It made me think of Banjo Sommelier, okay, and how we need to still, someone needs to take that Instagram handle and run with it, please. But no, this is really good. I think that the music kind of swells up a little bit. Like it's really kind of emotional, and there's a redundancy to the lyrics, which I think adds sort of a powerfulness to it. Yeah, I don't know. It was a really, really good one. And I think especially like if you're thinking if this really was written for a 17-year-old girl, I think that is it's really well done for that genre. It's good for anybody at any age because it kind of I don't know, encourages you to sort of push past your faults a little bit,
Yeah.
because that's kind of what bogs you down a lot of times. So, um, no, great pick, and great pick for any age, not just 17.
Nice.
Track 4, you've got Move Along by the All American Rejects.
Yeah, All American Rejects is definitely a band in the category of like, I forget about them. I listen to a song of theirs and then I end up listening to all their albums because I'm like, they were a great band. I absolutely love their sound. It still holds up today. Bonus points because it's like nostalgic. And I think I even saw them in concert at some point, which was really good. So yeah, for me, like the lyrics are just super clear here. Very positive song. When all you gotta keep is strong, move along, like I know you do. Even when your hope is gone, move along, just to make it through. And I think, as we get older and we face trials and tribulations in our life, both personal and external, it is sometimes very easy, unfortunately, to just feel like you want to quit and just want to stop. But the best thing you can do is just keep moving on. Like you'll find your way through anything if you just find the strength to keep moving. So this is an important message for me to keep remembering, because there's definitely moments where you're just like, and really all you can do is choose to move on and find your way through, and most of the time you do, so that's great. So yeah, I just love this song because of the nostalgic element, but really just enjoy the uplifting lyrics as well.
Yeah, this was a big hit. It still gets radio play now, but I mean, just such a great message, right? When everything seems wrong, just move along. I mean, that's perfect, and it's going to help you at any point in your life. I also loved like hearing this song from beginning to end without like a DJ at the beginning or it fading out too early was also like really good. Like I really I appreciate the intro to this song so much more, but so often if like you catch it on the radio, like it's getting eaten up by like, hey, we're going to be down at the Paramus Mall this weekend. Okay, come check us out. Like all that kind of stuff.
Right. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's awesome.
All right, track 5. You've got All Kinds of Time by Fountains of Wayne.
Yeah, Fountains of Wayne, it's such an underrated group. So good. And this song is one of my favorites of theirs. It was featured actually in a Scrubs episode. Like many of my songs, I learned through them because of Zach Braff's choice of music, whether it was this or Garden State. So yeah, this one, I really like it because, it's like telling the story of this like quarterback who's dropping back for a pass. He said that he wrote it because he would hear commentators just talk about, quarterbacks that have all kinds of time back there in the pocket because like their O-line's doing their job. And, he like stretched this out to what if that really felt like an eternity. And I think, the message here is like, just realize sometimes like take that breath and realize you've got some time to make a decision and make a choice, and that it doesn't have to be so rushed because that's often when you make mistakes. And so it's funny. I think there's these two kind of forces at play where, you do feel like you've got a lot of time, but then also you feel like you don't want to waste your time. And so I think that these two things kind of play together. And I'd like to believe that I have a lot of time and that I can, slow down, enjoy myself and kind of just like make the choices that matter to me rather than just rushing through everything, which is very easy to do these days.
Yeah, this song, it's really well done, really well written. It reminded me of so many moments in sports movies where you do have like kind of the pinnacle moment, like the big shot, the big throw, whatever it is. And then they do that kind of flashback thing where they'll like show the person either practicing or thinking about something else in their life before they actually execute on it. And so they did such a great job here of putting that into words and putting that into a song and sort of stretching out what is a 3-second moment, right? Like that's, quarterback drops back, gets rid of the ball. Like all that takes 3-4 seconds. And so to stretch it out into like a 3-minute song, I thought was so well done. And, like you said, credit to Fountains of Wayne. Like they're really a talented band. They're best known for Stacy's Mom, which is such a kind of silly song. But there's so many songs like this out there that are just great. So great pick. All right, track 6. You've got Present Tense by Pearl Jam.
Yeah, I think this one is my all-time favorite Pearl Jam song. It's a tight race. There are a lot of really, really good ones. You did an intro to Pearl Jam mix I still listen to and really enjoy. But I like this one a lot because again, on the theme of time, and it's very similar to All Kinds of Time right before it, it's just that reminder to be in the present, to live in a moment. I love the line of him, like looking at this tree and just realizing, like, doesn't it inspire, right? Like trees don't have a sense of time. They just kind of exist and go through every season and change throughout the seasons, and they've persisted for millions of years. Like they're very successful at doing that, which is incredible. And I also really have, just keep playing back those lyrics of you can spend your time alone redigesting past regrets, or come to terms and realize you're the only one who cannot forgive yourself. And so it makes much more sense to live in the present tense. And I mean, what an important message, right? Like you can just come back to that over and over again, that living in the past does not serve you, and projecting out way too far in the future also doesn't really serve you. And so just to be present and be where you are. So I think these two songs together really kind of help that reminder, that challenge of slowing down, taking a breath, taking a moment, and really enjoying where you are in life to the best that you can.
Yeah, it's interesting because on a recent episode of What Are You Listening To, which is also on the Super Awesome Mix podcast network, Jen Tully highlighted the song Heart of the Matter by Don Henley. And that song is all about, forgiveness and kind of moving forward. And so it was interesting because I had recently heard that, and then you put this song on. Of course, that is the line you just read was the same lyric I kind of called out because of that idea of like forgiving yourself and moving forward. Because that stuff is so important. But yeah, I mean, this was, I mean, I love Pearl Jam, and no, this is a great song and just a really good theme for a birthday, because I'm sure we all live with things that we just haven't let go of. And this is a good reminder to do that. Now, Sam, I'm going to take a little break here, and I just want to call out, I mean, you've got a big birthday coming up. So one thing you can add if you're having a big birthday party, or actually two things you could add, is you can always put this mix on one of our Super Awesome Mix mixtape cards, okay? So you get the mixtape card, you give it to all the party goers, they get a QR code, they can stream this on whatever streaming service that they listen to, and so you can check that out, superawesomemix.com, to order your mixtapes today. And then while you're there, if you're throwing a big party, you could also go over to skinnymixes.com and use the promo code SUPERAWESOME to save 10% on all their array of syrups for coffee, tea, water, snow cones, whatever it is. And they're all sugar-free. So, Sam, I mean, as someone who is well past 40, I will tell you, you got to ease up on the sugar right now. Okay? So skinnymixes.com is perfect for that. You want to avoid that sugar. Use the promo code SUPERAWESOME. Now let's get back to Sam's birthday mix. Track 7, it is Let Go by Frou Frou.
Yeah, you just mentioned before the break of letting go. And so this one is right on the nose in the title, right? Like learning to let go. And I do think that's super important as we get older. We've talked about, you do have more experiences. You do have more memories and everything. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just let go of them. Let go of the things that don't serve you anymore. Maybe even let go of the friends that don't serve you anymore. Like you realize like, hey, my time is limited and I do want to spend it feeling good. And so you want to cut out the things that make you not feel good. It sounds really dumb to say out loud, but it's difficult in practice. Sometimes we do hold on to things that we shouldn't be. And so, letting go has become a very important theme for me, and just kind of figuring out like, what to focus on, what I can control and let go of the rest. But I've always loved this song. I mentioned Zach Braff. This was featured in the movie Garden State. So yet again, he's introing me to music my entire life. And I just love her voice here. Frou Frou was like a temporary band. I think it only had one album with Imogen Heap as the lead singer here. And she just, I love the song. She does such a great job with it. And it just feels like, again, that kind of airy feel to a song that kind of matches the lyrics. And her singing, like there's beauty in the breakdown, like there's beauty in our emotions and our ability to feel and be where we are. And so, allow yourself to feel those things, let go of what you can, and just enjoy life as best as you can.
Yeah, one of the lines I called out here is, we've no time for later now. You can't await your own arrival. You've 20 seconds to comply. And what I loved about that was just the sense of urgency added there with the 20 seconds to like, let go.
Yeah.
Like go now, right? like if you ever listen to like Mel Robbins, motivational speaker, is very much into that 3, 2, 1, go, act, let go of that thought, like whatever, like kind of making that decision quickly. And so obviously I love the theme of the song, but also just that line to call out sort of the urgency behind it, and just that it really can happen that quickly in your mind if you will let your mind do that. So yeah, good stuff.
No, I love that, and I especially love it because I think it's whether it was intentional or not, but it's like the scene in RoboCop where the other RoboCop, like the one that failed,
Mhm.
I think he is like, you have 20 seconds to comply, and so I love the the sense of like this mixing in this really violent moment from that movie into this really nice song about letting go.
RoboCop, by the way, came out I think when you were born. I think around
Um,
was right around there. So that's perfect. That's
Amazing.
perfect.
That movie holds
It
up.
does.
That one's
It
great.
does. All right, track 8. It is Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield.
Yeah, this song is, I feel like, has made a resurgence lately. I imagine that the movie Anyone But You had something to do with that. It was featured very prominently in that film with Sydney Sweeney and oh my God, I'm blanking on his name, but he's in every movie now. Anyway, so yeah, so I absolutely love the song. I've loved it for a long time. Again, the lyrics are super great, so simple, very very clear, but just a great positive message of your story's unwritten, right? You can make it whatever you want to be, and so just be here in the moment. Like the feel the rain on your skin, to me is just like that sense of like, be present, like allow these things to kind of happen in your life, and the rest is still unwritten. So just love the song. This is one I feel like would be a great karaoke song. Like you can get everyone singing along with you. And again, the lyrics are easy and it's not that long. You're not going to be there for 7.5 minutes. So
Right. Yeah, that's a good one. She doesn't linger on the chorus, right? She just kind of moves it
yes,
forward, which is good. Shout out to the Hills. Any Hills fans out there? Okay, obviously this was the opening theme from that show, but yeah, no, I think it's a great birthday song, great message. Just because it's like, don't let your present situation kind of say, well, that's what this is my life now. Like this is what the rest of it's going to be, and just kind of this emphasis that it is unwritten. There's still a lot ahead of you, even at age 40, Sam. Okay, even at your age.
by the way, Glenn Powell, that's the
That's
name I
it.
was trying to
Yes,
come
I
up
was
with.
trying to pull
Yes.
it. I was like, God, what is that guy's name? Yeah, Glenn Powell. He is in everything. All right, track 9. You referenced this song earlier. It's When You Will Turn the Ripe Old Age of 100. It is 2085 by AJR.
Yeah, I know we just spoke about this, but I just had to include it again because of the 100, being in 2085. Like I think it sticks with me. But I also really love I'll focus on a different set of lyrics in this discussion. The opening lines, right? If somebody told me I'd die at 40, I wouldn't have spent my time in bed with my dumb songs and my growing up songs. I should have just grown up instead. And I think that that's also like, again, this is a reflective moment of, it's very easy to think back and wonder, like, what if I'd done this differently? What if I'd
Yeah.
spent my time a little differently? And just wishing you might have done things a little different. But unfortunately, to go back to the song present tense, it's all it all ties together. You could spend a lifetime wishing you'd done things differently, but you can start now and do things differently. So like this song and Unwritten and present tense and all of that is that reminder of like, don't spend too much time looking back. And maybe if you do, use it to only inform how you're going to change looking forward, and how you're going to change yourself looking forward, and spend the time that you do have left. So I really like this song. And again, it just makes me very reflective as I think about it. And I can't imagine turning 100 one day, but I'm 40% of the way there. So we'll see.
Yeah, this is a good placement right after Unwritten, because 2085, I mean, this song is kind of about like, yeah, reflecting, but yeah, also sort of looking ahead. What is that year going to look like for you? What do you want to look back on? All of that. And we love AJR. I mean, obviously they always have a cool sound and really, really good lyrics, really good way to put things. So yeah, great choice here. All right, track 10. It is Run On by Moby.
Yeah, I recently talked about this song with Jen actually on her show as well. What are you listening to? And I'd mentioned it in the context of it being one of the songs I played on Marathon Day for me, back in November, and one that I continue to play since then. And it's like a mix of, obviously, this sense of like running. I'm obviously super into running, but it's really more just this. I come back to the lines, this is a cover song, of course, but I come back to the lines of basically that eventually God's going to come, cut you down, right? Like death comes for us all. Like it's one thing that is not escapable. And so it's that reminder, this is like maybe the darker version of it. It doesn't have to be dark, of just that, yeah, our time is limited. And eventually, death comes for all of us. And so it's just that reminder of like, you can run on and do a bunch of things, but eventually like it's going to stop. And so I want to make sure I'm spending my time properly. I don't want to, spend my time running away from anything. I'd rather be running towards things that I like and all of that. So just really, really love this version of it. Moby said that apparently he did this one entirely manual. Like this was not recorded using a computer, because now it's like super easy to sample things using computers. But he was like manually piecing this together. He said he was exhausted afterwards, and I can hear that in the song. It's very complex actually. So I just really like how it sounds, but I like that reminder in the lyrics as well.
Yeah, I was really impressed by this song. Also, a really funny music video if you go and check out the music video to it. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely got a Moby sound to it, but there is something very different from what you normally get from him. Again, almost a little bit of gospel feel to it. Like if I'm gonna kind of bring that in along with Hallelujah and this one, which part of two genres that you wouldn't necessarily associate with that genre. So that was really cool. But yeah, you could tell the complexity here. So it is interesting to hear that he kind of did this a little differently than he normally does songs, but because you could tell it was different, the output was different. So nice one here. Our last two tracks are by the same artist. I don't know if you want me to introduce these together, because they kind of run into each other. Yeah. The last two tracks, it is Brain Damage and Eclipse by first time coming to the mix, this little band called Pink Floyd.
I know we were texting about this before this recording, that we'd not featured Pink Floyd yet in 5 years of talking about music, which is wild. So here, obviously on this mix, Dark Side of the Moon, incredible album, one of my no skip albums still to date. It's so good. But it's funny, when I did arrive at at this theme, I mentioned I wanted Hallelujah to open it, and I knew immediately I wanted these two songs to close it. And I think for me, the reason is twofold. One, I just love how these two songs end the album, and it just goes out in this really interesting way after this whole exploration of sound. I love how they run into each other. I love a good pairing. Maybe that needs to be a mix one day where we just pick like songs that bleed into each other. So it's like two songs that are really one, because I have a handful in mind that I think do really well. So musically, I love it for that. But lyrically, what I really like about this is just that line. I come back to that line of "There's someone in my head, but it's not me." And I think, we all kind of have that feeling sometimes in one of two ways. Either the dark way of like, we have a thought that we don't like an intrusive thought, and it can be very like alarming to hear it. And you're like, oh my God, like who is that in me? Or a very light way of, again, you hear a thought and you see a version of yourself that you really like and you want to be that version, and you're not quite there yet. And so I think, what this whole album kind of explores is that we share both light and darkness in the same brain space, right? We have these like versions of ourselves, and they intermix with each other, and you can't have one without the other. And I think, to borrow a quote from Harry Potter, it's like we all have the light and the dark, and it's like what you choose to focus on is like who you are. And so I think, getting older, turning 40, really at any point in your life, it's a nice exploration moment to just kind of think like, who am I focusing on? Am I chasing the voice that makes me feel better and makes me want to be a better person? Or am I chasing that voice that kind of drags me down and makes me feel crummy and maybe, a little bit more negative? So that's why I really, again, lyrically loved these songs. But in general, I love this album. I'll never get tired of it.
Yeah, this was great and really cool. I mean, they blend into each other just seamlessly, so you don't even realize that the track is shifting. So I'm glad we're kind of talking about them together. But yeah, I love that idea of kind of light and dark, and what do you choose to amplify, if you will. That's a big thing in like pro wrestling. If you've ever listened to pro wrestlers talk, it's like they all say they're just sort of being a part of themselves and sort of amplifying that part of themselves. That's why, like in pro wrestling, They could be a bad guy, you could be a good guy at different times, because they're just sort of amplifying that part of themselves and kind of having fun with it in the process. But no, this is great, and I do think kind of a really cool way to end the mix. I think because one, this sounds really cool. I love in Eclipse how it kind of goes into this litany of of things, like just the
Yes.
way it kind of lays itself out. It reminds me of the U2 track, Stuck in a Moment You Can't Leave Behind, that kind of ends that way too.
Yeah.
Um, and it almost kind of has a trance like nature to it. And so really cool way to end the mix as you're kind of listening to it and sort of reflecting. So no, great job. Great construction of this mix. I was really impressed with that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I agree with you. I think Eclipse is like it gives me you can allow yourself to have chills listening to it because they are just listing all the things. And life is all of these things. It's both the good, the bad, everything in between. It's fun and it's scary at times. It's happy and it's sad. And that's our lives. So appreciate you listening to it and happy you enjoyed it.
All right. Well, there you have it. Another super awesome mix for your collection. This time it is Sam's 40th birthday mix. So enjoy that one. He's got a lot of years ahead of him and plenty of mixes ahead of him. So we're going to get to work on that. So for Sam, this is Matt. We'll see you next time.